being the case, we will move on to the...
You're up. Oh, all right. I did good.
Yeah, as everybody knows, I've been here before. My name's Hap William. I was just kind of interested if you found anything out about the crossing and the noise and all this. They're starting to progressively get a little worse again. And I'd just like a little input, see what you found out, if anything.
Contacts have been made to the railroad, and I've contacted them several times.
Are they giving you any satisfaction or letters or anything about
No.
their horn blowing or anything like that?
We get standard answers.
This is, you know, I've kind of waited a couple of months before I come back to give a little input. I know Rome wasn't built in a day, but we still, people, as citizens of Gardner, I think they need a little more recognition than getting this problem solved.
Noted.
Thank you.
Thanks, yeah.
Yep.
That being the case, we will move on to the consent agenda. Is there a council member who wishes to remove an item from the consent agenda?
Number 5, please.
How would council like to proceed with items 1 through 4?
I move we approve consent items number 1 through 4.
Second.
Motion Harrison, second Gregorczyk, that we approve consent items 1 through 4. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda item number 5, consider authorizing the city administrator to execute a lease agreement for a barn for salt storage.
I have a very simple question. Because this is the 8th time that we've renewed the lease, I wonder if we've had any conversations with Mr. Bartlett about extending it maybe to a 3 or 5 year term. I don't know how far away we are from construction, but if we could go and offer maybe a lower annual rate, but paid as a lump sum on a longer term, it might be a benefit to him. It's more than anything, I mean, budget-wise, it won't make a huge impact, but it may just be something we can lock in and then also just have it taken care of and be able to plan a little bit accordingly instead of every March having it come to us and ask for renewal. So I didn't know if there had ever been that consideration made in the 7 or 8 years' time.
Looking for Pearson's item in Mike.
Great. And really, that was my only question.
Now, we've always handled it only year by year. That gives him the option to either raise it, as you can see, it raises at $300 a year.
Right.
And, you know, it's something we've never brought up because we usually assume that someday we're going to actually have, you know, the funds to build the salt barn.
Right.
So it's not something we can do. Next year, I'd recommend we can look into that in the next renewal if you want.
I think it's worth I think it's worth at least a question asking. I mean, like I said, budget-wise, it's not going to make a huge impact. We might save a few $100, but it's just a one for planning purposes, and then we actually have a site. If it's a 3-year agreement, then we have 3 years of maybe finding ways to fund the $165,000 construction cost and set the cost aside accordingly. Paying it that way, maybe a little bit better instead of year to year.
You know, if it'd be acceptable that before we bring it back to you next year, we'll have that conversation with him.
I think that's perfectly fine. Yeah, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Why do we want a salt barn of our own? I mean, it's a pretty reasonable cost, about a 23-year break even.
The long-term, currently we can store about 500 tons of salt in the barn. We can store about 150 tons on site. As we grow, which we will continue to grow, that will be inadequate. So in order to have adequate stores as Gardner grows, you'll need, most cities are storing between 5,000 to 10,000 tons, but they're a lot larger. Right now we get by with about 1,100 tons, and we have to order. The best thing is if you have storage, you can buy it in the summer and get better prices. We have had some winters where we've run out and we're scrambling to find a replenisher. So it's just a much safer thing to have more storage to get through the winter.
Do we have any other options in Gardner for storage?
We haven't really explored any. This has been reasonable enough.
No, I mean, and I'm saying in addition to this. So if we had another, I mean, mean, like
I see where
Larry
you're
said,
going.
it's about a 23-year payback if we keep it this, so even if we doubled that,
Sure.
would that help? I mean, would some of those costs offset with being able to buy bulk?
We can investigate. I don't have an answer for you tonight.
So how much money do we save buying 1,100 tons all at once?
For
versus
savings, I
500
think
twice?
it's more operational than savings. It's a very scary thing to be middle of the winter and run out of salt. Folks are not happy and we are very stressed.
Now, Ms. Bartlett, at one time, had talked about selling, and, you know, obviously the economy maintains, so we backed off that. I don't know if he's ever going back to that. I mean, that was part of the conversation we had some time back when we looked at, building and leasing. So I
Yes,
know that was one of the issues.
Thank you for reminding me that. That is correct. He actually has a approved, I think, preliminary plan to develop that property, which went on hold about the time we started renting his barn. And that's kind of where the year-by-year arrangement came into play.
Okay. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you very much.
So how would we like to proceed with consent agenda item number 5?
Move we approve consent agenda number 5.
Second?
Motion Harrison, second Freeman, that we approve consent agenda item number 5. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. I've been asked by staff to remove new business item number 1. There were questions that were asked and had been unable to get answers for tonight, so it was requested that we table that to a later meeting. And also, new business item number 3, there were questions that were asked during briefings, and staff has been unable to get answers to those questions for this evening. It's been asked to table that item to next council meeting, the 18th. So those items 1 and 3.
We need to have an official motion to table those.
Is there a motion to amend the agenda?
I move we amend the agenda and remove new business item number 1 to new business item number 3.
Second?
Motion Harrison, second Freeman, that we amend the agenda to remove new business item number 1 and number 3. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. New business item number 2, consider authorizing the city administrator to execute an interlocal agreement with Johnson County to provide building code administration services to the city. David?
Thank you. We've been working with Johnson County Codes Administration since the first of the year. Johnson County's been providing code interpretation and plan review for us. We were able to secure the services of a contract building inspector right after Christmas. He's been working with us since that time. However, we need to get agreement to basically formalize that arrangement. The term of the agreement is back to January 1 when we actually started. The county would be compensated at the rate of $73 an hour for their time. That includes the code official, the engineer who's doing plan review, and additionally, since the second week of January, they picked up a contract plan reviewer who's also available to us. The estimated cost per month is about $11,000 a month for their services. In addition, it's the cost for the contract code official is running at about $5,000, which is about the monthly salary for code administration with staff. So the term of the agreement would run from January 1 to March 31st. We're planning to be back up and running. If we do need additional services, we would end this contract.
The $11,000 for it.
That's basically staff time.